So, welcome to the Agnihotra Ladies, the Cosmic Clinic. I'm the Agnihotra Lady, and I'm so happy to have everyone with me here this evening. This week, I'm in the Atlanta campus at Shanti, Atlanta. I think the last two times I've been doing the show was at Shantivilla Institute. And for those of you all that don't know, Shantivilla Institute is the main Ayurvedic medicine school located in Tuskegee, Alabama. And then we also have the Atlanta campus, Shanti Atlanta, which is located in Conyers. And so I want to just thank everyone for joining me. And you know, this light over my head, let me see if I can move. Because it's right over my head. Let's see. I'm adjusting the camera here so that light is not right there. Okay, that's much better. Because I was looking at that like, oh my gosh, that light there. So welcome. So this week's show, I wanted to talk about the spiritual development and also the Vedic science of Agnihotra. It's been a while since I've posted links talking about the scientific studies that have been done on Agnihotra, and I think that's really important. So I'm also going to talk about some of the challenges that are happening in Texas and with the food systems and various things that people may not realize that's happening because of the severe weather there and severe weather that will be happening in other places. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and start with the Rooftop Mantra, which is the opening mantra I always start with here at Shanti Institute in Shanti, Atlanta. And then we can go ahead and get started with the talk. Bu Swaha Agnihotra Namama Swaha Vayuve Namama Swaha Suryaya Namama Verbal Swaha Ajapatiye Namama. Okay, so now let's just jump into the talk. So before I start talking about how your spiritual development happens and how Agnihotra can enhance your spiritual development and increase all of that, I wanted to talk about probably things that a lot of people are not thinking about because of the problems in Texas. I don't know if many people realize that Texas is like the #3 provider of food for the entire United States. And there have been some news that has been reported saying that because of the freeze and all of that that's happened there is going to be a food shortage there in that area. They're going to have to get food from other places, and of course that means the price of food is going to go up. That means they're going to have hard times stocking food pantries for people that already were food challenged. It's going to be even worse now because farmers, during the interviews that I've seen, they were saying how much money they lost, and everything was lost, and a lot of them couldn't even get money back on some of their crops, and they had to start from scratch. So there is going to be a food shortage. People need to be aware of this. California, of course, is the #1 producer of food. Iowa is #2. Texas is #3. So I don't know if many people have been paying attention, but I'm sure the people in Texas are very aware of what is, going to be happening. What is happening? It's not what is, but it is going to be happening. And so as we go through more and more phases of extreme weather, Texas is not going to be the only place that this happens to. There's going to be food shortages everywhere, and I need everyone to understand this and to be prepared. If you already are not gardening or helping at your local community garden, you need to immediately start doing that, because there are more and more cases of this extreme weather, and you need to understand the implications of that. You won't be able to go to the grocery store and get, you know, your grocery items if the farmer has destroyed crops. There's nothing for him to harvest, okay? So please, everyone, please pay attention. Do not get distracted by so many things that the reported in the media that you do not understand what is really happening with, that's going to be long term, okay? These are problems that are continually happening. Let me go ahead and actually post for anyone that wants to join in. Let me post the link to the Zoom. So if you would like to join in with audio, with video, please join in this conversation. I welcome that. So let me post the link real quick. Okay. So everyone can see that. So bear with me a second while I post the link on the Shantivilla page. And as always, I post on Shantivilla. I post on Shanti Atlanta's page, and also on my personal page, D Dome. So feel free to share from any of these pages, because, you know, I give a lot of great, important information, especially now, and I want people to really be aware of what is going on with the food systems, okay? There are food shortages starting now. There will be more as we have continued problems with weather, and that affects the farmers. And please send some loving energy to these farmers, because they're suffering. They're the ones that help bring about food to the entire United States, and just not just farmers here, but farmers everywhere. So now that I've talked about that, many places that I posted about this earlier too, that in the Midwest, they have a problem with topsoil. So they're not going to be able to grow any food in these Midwestern farms. They were saying that the fertile soil is gone. NPR reported about this. If you'd like to go onto my Facebook, my personal Facebook page, it talks about this. So, I mean, you have to have fertile soil in which to grow food. So one of the things that when we talk about Agnihotra, and let me back up a little bit for those that are not familiar with the show, the Agnihotra Ladies, the Cosmic Clinic, we talk about Agnihotra, which is an Ayurvedic practice that is done in a copper pyramid that purifies and brings nutrients back into the planet. It's done at sunrise and sunset. And so one of the things that I talk about on the show is that Agnihotra will be a way to purify the planet, to bring about a transformation from these things where you won't be able to grow food, and it purifies and heals people. So for these places where they're not able to grow food, you can do Agnihotra, which is the basic homa fire, and then there are other fires that you can do, and this is how you're able to restore the soil. I will post the links to some scientific studies that talk about what happens when you use the homa fire farming technique and just Agnihotra to bring about nutrients. When you use Agnihotra ash, ash is the byproduct of doing Agnihotra. You use cow dung, you use brown rice, and then you also use ghee, which is unsalted butter that has been boiled down. Those are the main ingredients this using the copper pyramid. But this brings about a transformation to the atmosphere, to the water, to the soil. So in places where there's pollution or places where you can't grow food, you're able to restore the soil. And so scientific studies have been shown that the root systems are revitalized. Places where you normally can't grow food, you're able to grow food now, and things grow abundantly. It increases it happens the harvest time and increases the plant yield. And so it brings about that balance to the soil. Okay, so there have been many studies in India and Germany and other places in which it shows what happens to the roots, what happens to the plants, the stems, and the fruit of the plants. Everything is revitalized. So I would say anyone that's in the Midwest, if you're a farmer, you need to set up your farm as a home farm. I can show you, or Jason, who's our home farmer here at Shantivilla, he, we're welcome to show you how to set this up, because that just breaks my heart when I hear that, the topsoil is gone in these Midwestern farms. That's horrible. And people, are not growing their own food on a large scale, just individual people and households. So a lot of people will starve and suffer. But there's no need to, because we have Agnihotra. Agnihotra revitalizes the soil so that you can grow food. And so it helps with funguses that destroy crops and things like that. It eradicates that and puts a balance. It helps with insect control. So, and you can test this yourself. You can do Agnihotra, and if you're gardening and farming yourself, then you'll be able to see the difference when you do Agnihotra, which is the basic home of fire for purification, and then you use the ash when you plant your seeds. Okay, the ash is like so nourishing and brings about a transformation in the soil. Okay, so let's also talk about what Agnihotra does to the air. So recently I have a nurse friend of mine. She's been doing Agnihotra for several years, and she says, well, you know what, can you send me some studies that talk about the healing that takes place in people? She had been dealing with depression, and she says, this is the first time I've been able to throw out my my psychotropic drugs, and I feel better. And so there are also studies that Agnihotra homotherapy is people that are alcoholics were able to treat their alcoholism naturally. Okay, and it brought about peace and tranquility and balance and within themselves. It brought about a change with them, how they thought, how they were thinking, and it brought about, this just tranquility. So there are studies that show that Agnihotra homotherapy is good for treating alcoholism. So we often have people that come by that not only just have that, but they have PTSD, depression issues, and they say how peaceful and calm it is. And so the studies also show that when they do check respiration and your pulse before Agnihotra is, let's say it's high, after Agnihotra everything is calmed down. It's a rate that's much less. And so, and you can test this on yourself. If you're in the medical profession, you can take these measurements on yourself, take your own pulse, find out what your resting heart rate is, and then check those same measurements after Agnihotra, and you can tell the difference in your body. So often when I talk about Agnihotra, I always talk about, it's not what I tell you, it's what you experience as the individual. Okay, you as the individual, what feels right to your body, what feels right to your spirit. And so that's why I tell everybody, do it and see for yourself what you feel like. These things are really important. And it's really important for you to understand that with all the changes that are happening in the world, we need Agnihotra more so than ever. We need as many people to do Agnihotra to bring about the cleansing that needs to take place to get everything back in order, because the planet is soft. We have done so much stuff to just take away from the planet, we have to put back nutrients into the atmosphere. And know that when you do Agnihotra, you do it at sunrise and sunset, that there is a beautiful cascading of music that envelops the planet when you do Agnihotra. And so, and your area goes 8 miles up and 2-mile radius. And so this is the protective bubble that forms in your neighborhood and your community. And so this music cascades upon everything, and there's a rejuvenation that takes place in your heart and the animals around you. And it's so lovely to be able to be healing, be part of the healing process at sunrise and at sunset. So at sunrise, there's that flooding of all the ethers, electricities, and energies. And then at sunset, then you have the receding of those energies, which is why you do it again at sunset. So it's like it's a 24-hour cycle that you do every 12 hours to Agnihotra to cover the entire 24-hour cycle for healing. Now, as you know, nature runs on all sorts of cycles. You have cycles in which animals hibernate. You have a cycle for, of course, morning. At night, you have a cycle. Think about the 4 seasons. You know, you have spring, winter, fall, these cycles. So nature runs on this rhythm. It knows how to take care of itself. And the more in sync you're with that process, the more you live in harmony, the more you are healed, because you're part of the nature process too. And all the problems that we're having now is because we try to create something that's more perfect than nature. And know that there's nothing more perfect than nature, which is what God created. When you try to perfect something that doesn't need perfection, that is when the imbalance happens. And so now we have all these problems. And I often say, you know, we have all these scientists, we have all these great thinkers, we're so brilliant and smart, then why do we have these problems that are not solvable? They're not, you can't solve them. You can solve them though when you get back to nature and realize that nature does not have to correct itself. The only corrections that come about is because we think that we know more than God, the creator, and we don't. Once you get back to that simplicity, that simple, basic fact, then a lot of the things that we're going through, they will get back to normal. So I want to talk about that. And so in terms of, I want to talk about water. So let me keep the fire going here. I don't think I've got enough ghee here to begin with, but keep this going. Okay, so we talked about what happens to the soil when you do Agnihotra and homotherapy. We talked about what happens to your mind, your spirit, if you have depression, PTSD, if you have a drug addiction problem, that is very healing in that way too. So now let's talk about, and we talked about the air. So there's a cleansing that happens also with the water. And so the studies that I'm going to post again, I haven't posted these studies in a while. It shows that it definitely decreases the pathogenic bacteria level in air. It has an effect on the microbial count. And so as a matter of fact, one of the tests shows that within 30 feet of the area you're doing Agnihotra, it affects the microbial area. So for people that has respiratory issues, people are dealing with immune issues, this is very healing. So of course, I have to be careful when I'm talking about these things, because they they don't want you telling people that you can deal with some of these viral issues and different things we're having with something that's not a drug. But there are studies there that I will post that would talk about what happens to pathogenic bacteria, which happens to fungi and different things, and what happens to your body with respiratory problems and things like that. So I just want you to be aware there are other options that the media are not telling you, that you can deal with some of these things that they're reporting on. And that's how I'm going to phrase that, because I think the very first Agnihotra lady episode where we had Sri Charles's daughter talking about how she treated the coronavirus with Agnihotra, and they took the video down off of Facebook, and they took it down off of YouTube and said, you can't post that because this is not what the CDC recommends. So, and this is her direct account of what happened to her when she was doing Agnihotra, and they were trying to put her on a ventilator. So I think it's an era to keep people from talking about things that they're experiencing that can help with some of these things, because there's nothing really to fear if you understand that you have a tool that can work that doesn't have side effects, and that's Agnihotra. So with water, what I normally do, and let me see if I have a jug of water, I take the ash, and let me grab the water. There's some ash too, actually. So I take a water jug like this. So, and I put ash in it, and then I let it sit for 3 days in the sun if it's not too cold outside, and that cleanses the water. It doesn't make me have to sit for 3 days, but that's what I normally do. And let me show you the ash. Okay, I thought I had everything sitting down out here. So this is Ayurvedic ash. This is considered charcoal, Ayurvedic charcoal. This is the byproduct from when you, make sure you can see that. So from when you burn in the copper pyramid at sunrise and sunset, your cow dung, your rice and ghee, this is the byproduct. And this is what you use for farming. You put a little bit of this ash into, get you some tap water in a jug like I just showed you, and let it sit for like 3 days, and it cleanses the water, and you can taste the difference. So you don't have to buy bottled water, you can cleanse. And then people also take the ash internally for other ailments and things like that. So, you know, we're really talking about Agnihotra being a system in which you can heal yourself, heal the soil. Now, how deep is that? Heal yourself, heal the soil, and restore the planet. So it's like God created all of this for us to be able to nourish ourselves, feed ourselves healthy food, and restore our spirits, restore our bodies, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So let me, okay, so we covered water, we covered soil. And before I go on, I'm gonna actually post one of the links now to one of the studies. And it's a link to a PDF file, so bear with me. I'm gonna post this now. So for anyone that wants to look at the science of it, this is based on science. Okay, scientific study. I'm posting it now. Ooh, my spelling is atrocious. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to post one of them now. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I just posted one now. And let me see if I can post another one. Okay, then there's one on alcoholism. And then all you have to do is click on the this is a link to the one on alcoholism, and then just click the PDF link, and then you'll be able to see the full study. Okay, so let me just do that so you can see. So anyone that's dealing with those challenges, this is something that you can use to treat alcoholism, depression, and all of that. Okay, so and make sure we're good on time. Let me pause for a second to see if anyone has any questions. So if you have any questions, I've posted the link, and feel free to call in or anything like that. Let me actually see if there's anyone in here trying to have a conversation with me. Okay. So now, hold on a second. Let me check one thing. I'm going to share to one more page. Uh-oh. So now, okay. Just wanted to make sure that everything was in order over here. Okay, so now that I've covered all the things of Agnihotra in terms of the effects of water, the soil, and the air, because you have to remember that air, of course, is ubiquitous. You know, soil is ubiquitous. All these things are everywhere, and this affects everybody. So Agnihotra, as a reminder, this is not about a religion. Whatever practice you have, or you have no faith, add this to whatever you do to protect yourself. There are a lot of things that will be happening in the next upcoming weeks and the next upcoming months, and I really, really want people to be protected. There's a lot of things that are happening that you may not see or overlook in the media. You need to be prepared. We really, really do, especially in communities where at risk pollution affects those areas more, because they can't go run off. They usually dump more pollution. They have more incinerators and things like that in neighborhoods that are at risk, low income neighborhoods, and they feel like they can do that because nobody really champions for people that are, don't have many resources, have access to resources. So it's really important that I want everyone to look after your neighbors and look after people that don't have a champion. You be the champion. We have to take care of each other, okay? And remember that you don't have to be a big celebrity or anything like that, or someone rich, to be able to do the right thing and to help other people. You're a human being, and that's what we're made to do. We're made to help each other. We're made to take care of our brothers and sisters. So that's really important. And it's whenever there's been a big change to come about, major change has always been the regular people, regular ordinary people. Just think about what Martin Luther King Jr. did. He took people from the pool halls and from the hood to do big, wonderful things, making change for people that were not being treated well, not just Black people, but he spoke out against, Vietnam War and all these things. And the same thing with Mahatma Gandhi. This was like regular people, living, very poorly, that were able to make a change over there and get the British out of India, so much out of their stuff over there. So just remember, it's always the regular everyday person that makes the biggest changes, okay? So there's no need to be in fear of all these things that you are hearing about, because you are powerful. You're a daughter, a son of God, the creator, of Mother, Father, God, which means that you have immense strength and you can make a change, each and every one of us. So going back to some other aspects of Agnihotra and dealing with your spiritual development. So I like to, and I was reading something on a quote I think from 2014 that Sri Charles, he was talking about having the right spiritual discipline with, you know, will make you fertile as a person, because he was likening it to soil has to be fertilized in order to grow things. And I like that, you know, spiritual disciplines, if you do enough of those, it fertilizes you, prepares you. And think about it. When you look at just the beauty, the simplicity, and the grandeur of nature, nature has this way of doing things at the right time. The ocean flows, the birds fly, bears know when to hibernate. Things become rejuvenated. Even when you hear about the fires, the wildfires that have destroyed a lot of the big beautiful redwood trees, they said even amongst, you know, this destruction, there's still some rejuvenation that is coming up with these big majestic trees. So understand is that earth on its own knows how to regenerate. The regeneration process, though, of course, is interfered with when we take so much and destroy things, then we mess with that flow. But nature itself, I mean, it's beautiful and knows how to proliferate. And so let's just take soil and the fertility of soil. Soil, if you put certain types of fertilizer, if you plant things in a certain way, then it may grow a little bit. Then if you use a better fertilizer, not anything like any GMO crap or Roundup, but if you put other things that are even better, then it proliferates even more, whatever you put into the soil. So it's the same thing with humans. For you to have your spiritual development, to go beyond just staying in one level, you know, you have to do different things to make yourself fertile. Just like with the soil, it knows what to do to the seed to make the plants grow abundantly and be nutritious and be able to sustain all the life, the animals that depend on it to be able to feed us. You know, that's because you tend to it the right way. The farmers know what to put in there, the seeds, to bring about this nutritional balance in the soil. And so for the fertility of our spirits and our bodies and to boost our understanding, we have to have the same type of care. We have to be around positive people that live like us and not have people that are not on the same track of thinking, expose us and get us off that track of fertilizing our spirits, our minds, okay? We have to look at the right things, read the right things, even the right music. And last week I was talking about mantras and the power of mantras and what happens to your chakras, and the same thing with music. You know, there's music that brings about a change and activates chakras as well. So what we listen to, that goes into our bodies. We absorb that, you know, not just the voices of people, but the music. So we have to be careful about that. All that stuff fertilizes us. And if you want to grow beautifully and strong and deepen your understanding, that music is important too. And so there's so many different factors that go into fertilizing you. You are the soil. And so on top of that, we've talked about deep breathing. That's a fertilizer to the human body and the spirit. We have yoga, which is good for your physical body as well as good for helping to develop peace and quiet, and dealing also too with activating chakras. And then we have sitting still, being quiet. Okay, all these things need to happen to fertilize you as a human being. And then Agnihotra, that is something that will hasten this process of your spiritual development. So with continued regular use of these disciplines, like Sri Charles was saying earlier about with the right disciplines, you're fertilized. continued use of deep breathing, yoga, meditation, and Agnihotra, you are being fertilized. You're this super rich organic soil. Okay, we go buy organic food, some of us, okay, because we want the proper food in our bodies. But what are you doing? What disciplines are you doing to make sure that you are fertilized as a person with your thoughts? And then this goes into what I said, the first thing about you have to have the right people around you. So when you have the right people around you, you listen to the right things, you know, you're looking at the right things on TV, this changed the thought pattern. Okay, you're meditating, you're doing yoga, you're doing deep breathing. That changes your thought patterns. All your chakras are open. Okay, and then Agnihotra is a way to bring about that peace and tranquility, slows you down, heals your body, okay, while it's purifying the planet. And since we are connected, and we're more than connected, we are the planet, all the constituents, the ingredients, all of the very essence of the planet is inside our bodies. Okay? So when you cleanse the planet, you cleanse yourself. And so heal the planet, you heal yourself. That has always been the basic teaching. And so just know that fertilizing yourself with proper thoughts, proper actions, proper thinking, that is paramount to you deepening your understanding. And anyone that's on a spiritual path, it cannot continue if you not are constantly doing these things that I'm talking about. Very, very important. And in terms of spiritual development, there's nothing that comes before that. Nothing. Your spiritual development, your relationship with Mother, Father, God, the Creator, that comes first. Because when that comes first, then you become the better spouse, the better friend, the better mother or father, the better you become a better human being. Okay, so that always comes first before any job, any other person, because that is what you're here to do as a human being, is to pursue your spiritual development with all the energy that you possess, because that understanding, once that comes, then your life is much easier to live, and then you won't have so many problems. And it's not because that you don't have the problems, it's just how you react to the problems, because your thinking is different. So not that you will have a life filled with no problems, but they won't be problems in the sense that you are reacting in a different way, because you understand that all these things are transitory. And so I'd say that, you know, when you do Agnihotra, you're healing your entire family. When you set the fire in your copper pyramid, you're bringing about a healing. You don't have an individual problem or issue. You have a family that deals with things together, and there are no issues. So this is something the entire family can do and benefit from. And like I said, there's a peace and tranquility that just happens, and it's magnificent. You just walk with your head up high, renewed every time you do the fire, because you have changed how you think, who you are as a human being. And remember, everything that we're talking about here in the Cosmic Clinic, we talk about you as the energy being, you outside of this human self. Remember that we are energy beings housed in these physical bodies. And how magnificent that God made us this way. Remember, we are in the image of God, the Creator. And that with that means that we are great and powerful too. And so these disciplines that we're talking about, anything can be achieved with your spiritual development if you have the discipline, if you stick to them. This is how you can solve all these problems. And it goes into, once you solve these issues with yourself, then you can begin to solve the community problems, the neighborhood problems, the state problems, the nation's problems, the world problems. It all starts with yourself first. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to work on ourselves to become as spiritually developed as possible. And once we do that, that's when the change can come. One individual affects another individual that's working on themselves and helps them to elevate. Now you have two individuals that affect 10 individuals. These individuals then make up the group. So it's a wonderful, beautiful thing to know that you, the human being, you possess this power. You're beautiful and you're special, and there's nothing that you cannot do if you have the discipline. So let's just go over the cosmic clinic hours again for those that are not familiar. So we talk about being quiet, sitting still, or for those that do Agnihotra, you can light a fire. We have fires that we do outside of the Agnihotra times, and we start at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. You have sunrise, 10 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., then sunset. So these are the cosmic clinic hours in which you sit still and you receive all the knowledge that God wants you to know. And he wants you to know this information, but you have to sit still. And this information is not contained in any book. And I was talking about this earlier with someone. This knowledge, this deep, deep knowledge, is available without you having to read any book. We've talked about that before. And for really, when you're talking about getting really deep into your spiritual development, your spiritual practice, everyone I know, and I know I know many different types of people. I know many different types of sages and monks and masters and people like that. But from what I understand and what I know from personal experience, you have to go deep within, and all the knowledge comes to you without reading a book. Without reading a book. And it's beautiful because God wants to reveal all these things to you if you just sit still and listen. So that's I believe that's all I wanted to cover this evening. But I want everyone to understand is that the purpose of me doing the Agnihotra ladies, the Cosmic Clinic, is to let as many people know that Agnihotra is the tool to deal with these very serious issues we have now. We're talking about food issues, weather issues. Agnihotra takes care of that. Depression, all these things. There's a tool. And my purpose is to get as many people to do Agnihotra to bring about the healing, to take away the despair, to bring about a liberation of yourself, to do away with fear, to do away with envy and jealousy and lying, okay, and greed and attachment to material things, to do away with all these things. And Agnihotra is about liberating your spirit, liberating you to have this deep understanding, to bring about your spiritual development to the highest level possible. So there's no need to fear about all these things that they're telling you about. You know, now they're saying, you know, we have these other coronavirus strains. Now they're saying that maybe you're going to have to be getting a shot every year because all these things are coming out. Don't be fearful. Just go back to Agnihotra and knowing that you are able to take care of all these things that are happening in the world. It's simple. We should not be trying to use so much of this technology to keep fixing things that we started, when we need to just go back to the natural way of nature and how nature works. Once we get back to the origins of who we really are, then everything will fall into place. And that's what I wanted to share with you this evening. And I don't want people to have to suffer. And I know people are suffering, and more people will be having challenges. And I'm saying to you that there's no reason to, because Agnihotra is a way to liberate you, to bring in the knowledge to heal you, to heal the planet. So think about that, and thank you so much for joining me this evening here live at Shantivilla Institute and Shanti Atlanta. So I'm broadcasting live here at Shanti Atlanta at the Conyers location. And of course, you can email me at shantiatlantacenter@gmail.com, or you can call me at 404-487-8156. And the main website is shantivillainstitute.com. That's SHANTI, villainstitute.com. And then there's a link for anyone that's in the Conyers area. There's a Shanti Atlanta link. Shantivilla Institute, our main location in Tuskegee, is not open right yet to visitors, though we will be having, we're going to have our store reopen in about 2 or 3 weeks, just for limited hours on Friday and Saturday. But it won't be fully open yet until we get through some renovations. So I do want to talk about some items that we have for sale online. We have our signature, and you know what? Let's see here. Can you see this? This is Shanti's Golden Ayurvedic Plant Food, developed by Sri Charles. And oh gosh, I think this light is too much over here. And it is great, Ayurvedic, beyond organic. So if you want to do some really good gardening and farming, you can buy this. Available on shantivillainstitute.com. And it's concentrated, by the way. You can mix it with water. Then our best-selling book, we do have a couple other books, and we'll be releasing some other books as well too. We have The Secret Science of Mudras, authored by Sri Charles, and this talks about different mudras that you can use to heal yourself. And so, if you know, you may sometimes see me do certain movements with my fingers using mudras that bring about the healing, and I've demonstrated about some of these before. So we have this. This is available in ebook only, I believe. And then exclusively, I just started selling Homa crystals. And these are crystals that have been sitting in a Homa atmosphere. These are just raw quartz crystals that have all the energy of the Homa atmosphere. So they've been sitting here in Shanti Atlanta whenever I do any of the Homa fires in the morning, during the day, and of course Agnihotra at sunrise and sunset. So they're infused with all of the energy of the Homa fire. So they are very much charged with much healing energy. And I put all my intention of healing into each of these. These are just raw crystals, so these are not going to all be slick and shiny, everything. So and I'll put up a link probably separately on these, because I'm going to probably have it on the Health Plus Lifestyle site. But the big ones are probably $25, I believe. I haven't even priced these right. but these are quartz crystals, and I do have some smaller ones that I haven't figured out the price yet, but these are the Agnihotra Ladies Homa infused crystals. So for those that want to set up your meditation room, or use these to meditate, or for decoration, I'll be selling the Homa crystals. Okay, so these are all the things that we have to offer. We have other things that we're going to sell too, and then if for those that are going to be in Tuskegee, we will be selling items not listed on the website inside the store. We'll have and mind you, the store is very nice. We have it's solar, it runs off of solar power, and we have some jewelry, we have plant food, we have compost, we have incense. I'm going to have some of my photographic artwork, like his postcards, as well as some signed prints. We're going to have some things from the Cosmic Emporium, which is Kumi. She's a designer of that. We're going to have some, she makes some energetic pyramids that you can use for meditation. So we're going to have all sorts of wonderful things. So that'll be within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then we're going to just have limited hours, Friday and Saturday from, I think, 12 to 2 p.m. And then we probably add some more things on our website. So thanks so much for joining me this evening for the Agnihotra Ladies, the Cosmic Clinic. And I look forward to seeing you the next time. I will see you another week or so. And as always, be blessed, be full of love and peace.